Hello, hello. How are we all doing? I have sent the tweet. We are all good. Just need to check my phone real quick. All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. We are here. We are doing some TTRPG planning. It might be a little different today, only because we didn't play Warhammer last week. We ended the campaign for um, the War Drums of Mount Nimro last week, and also there's a lot of weirdness that I'm going to talk about in terms of planning, but we'll get to that in a minute. So we didn't play Warhammer last week. I think I'm going to do a little bit of planning to make sure I'm ready for tomorrow. I guess I was ready to wing it last week, but this time I'm going to maybe throw a little bit of extra zhuzh to make sure that we're good. As you may well know, Tuesdays are my Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory game named Dead Hope for the campaign. Um, if you haven't checked it out, we do a podcast by the name of Dead Hope that you can check out. So you can listen to the actual play, um, and see what we're about. But we're going to talk about the planning for next session. Next session will be the double heist, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So let's see, things to do in the warehouse. So there's two things they got to do. They got to capture Galvanus. They have to get an artifact. Galvanus is in the villa. Artifact is in the warehouse. Big fight. Belligerence. Group. Halved. Mutants. Let's see, we're going to do three medium, one large. Rival gang. Let's say 5 under armed goons with explosives. Eldari for no, yeah, for Rangers, I guess. Three Drukari. Oops. Ravagers. That's not a Warhammer 40k term, that's just something I'm making up. 2 Ravagers, 3 Blood Pets. And then finally, let's see, Galvanus. No, Galvanus is not going to be there. No, that's it. That's going to be like... Actually, I mean, in all honesty, there should also be hold on. Galvanus and Narina. But there should be Phenodius, Sisman, 4 well-armed guards. All right, in the villa. Belligerents. So the group halved. Phenodius. It's Phenodius. Come on now. Men. We'll say 10 well-armed guards. Leisure, Matrix, Daemon. Galvanus. Well, no, because Narina is going to be over here. Galvanus is going to be over there. We're going to say Bryfandilia, because it makes more sense for her to be over in this direction. She's probably going to try... I'm going to say she's in league with Galvanus. Well, no, she wouldn't be. Shoot. What would she do with Galvanus? Because she won't... No, she would be over here, unfortunately. Yeah, she would be over there because she wants that artifact. She's going to want that more than she's going to want Galvanus. She doesn't want to, like, make Slaanesh pay more attention to her, so that's not going to happen. Alright, what else? What else? Probably Inquisitor Veldin. And then, let's see, group plus Machete. So Machete will be there with the group going after Galvanus. I feel like this side of things needs a little bit more chaos. Literally and figuratively, but what would be going on there? Cultist distraction team. 10 poorly armed cultists. 1 weak psyker. Let's just say any complication has a 25% chance of bringing in a minor daemon or 2. Maybe a few daemonettes. Actually, we'll take the Pleasure Matrix demon. Okay, I like that a lot better. Because before the whole Pleasure Matrix daemon, whatever, there was not really a reason for it to be there. Now there is. Now there's a really good reason. Okay, I feel like this is good. Make maps would really help. I might do that after the stream, because I'm sure y'all don't want to see me put maps together. But I might do that just to make sure that I am all good and ready for tomorrow. But I feel better about this. Like, just knowing who is what and where will be fun. Let's see. There's not a lot else to do vis-a-vis my 40K game, which is fine. We've got some good things lined up. So instead of that, we're going to player characters. We're going to add to that at some point. NPCs. Let's see. Let's see if we can't add an NPC and maybe a villain. So let's see what we can add to NPCs. Placeholder, because we're just gonna throw this in so that y'all can see what I'm typing. So what is placeholder? What do we not have enough of? I feel like we should throw in something like a citizen. Someone who's prominent but like doesn't have an official role with the Imperium, like Adeptus army or whatever. Not necessarily, well, maybe a noble. I don't know. Let me see. How am I feeling? Let's see. Cardinal. Mechlin. Cardinal Mechlin Tassadan. So the good cardinal. Let's see. Why is there an icon? So Cardinal Mechlin Tassadan, we're going to say, is a member of the ecclesiarchy, disenchanted with current state of Gilead, and it's, I don't want to say rupturing, but it's not separation. I'm looking for like a more severing. No, God, why am I forced to thesaurus things? Not server, sever. There we go. That's a better word. Rending from Terra. Seeks, let's see, desperately seeking both a physical and spiritual connection to Terra. Very worried about the galaxy at large, using many connections and trading favors for clues and, that's the phrase I'm going to look for, leads on how to return to Terra. Sorry, just had to clean my glasses a little bit. You know, I like this copyright-free music well enough, and it is a kind of necessity on this stream. Sometimes I feel like it's human music. All right. Who sent me a message on the Discords? What beer do I drink? Sorry. Let's see. So Cardinal Mechlin Tacitane might be a good ally, someone who has connections to the ultimate goal that the group is pursuing, even though they don't know that. But as a member of the ecclesiarchy, Cardinal Mechlin probably doesn't want to use things like the Webway or Necron technology or even Old Ones tech. So he's probably going to be looking for more traditional means. That kind of makes it difficult because I don't know what means he could use outside of those. Sorry, stepping away for a second, but still within earshot. Anyhow, the point being that I don't know that there's really anything within the bounds of the Imperium as it stands, except let's see. Let's follow. Let's see. The Cardinal is following a rumor that there exists a technology developed during the Horus Heresy that can create miniature Astronomican. I think that's how you spell it. Astronomican beacons. They would require either reliquaries or powerful psychers to enable. If true, this could at least be a large source of relief amidst the Gilead sector. Let's see, let's call it actually not just the Gilead sector, Imperium Emeprium, Imperium Nihilus, or could bridge the gap between the Rift and Nihilus and the Solaris sectors, or halves. Unfortunately, there exists only one such beacon. Replicating it will be difficult, if not impossible. It is currently okay. Tyranid world, no, I don't want to really do that. Necrons could be neat. Might be a good little connection because we haven't brought in Necrons yet. Chaos, that just seems a little bit obvious, and a little too dangerous. But so now I'm between Necrons and Drukhari because those are two potential forces that would be interesting to tangle with, and brings us back into kind of what the purpose of the story is. Currently, In a webway, world controlled by a, okay, this will be interesting, by a splinter factor of Drukhari that are allied with, let's just say that have ties to the Harlequin. Faction. So that's important because Bones, being of the Harlequin faction, should have a connection there and be able to go. Now, just because these guys aren't cool with most Drukhari and are cool with the Harlequin faction does not mean that they are nice people. They still torture and hurt people. They may just decide to do it in a way that is different than the traditional Drukhari method. I'm interested to see how we build this out, but this should be really interesting. We haven't talked a lot about Cardinal Mechlin at the moment, like themselves. We know what their goals are. We know the Cardinals kind of general get down for what motivates him, but we don't know a lot about Mechlin. So Mechlin is a fearful man, but also dedicated to his flock. He fears for them more than for himself. Scooch this so y'all can read. He prays fervently to the emperor, but worries that the emperor has turned his back on his flock, or worse yet, is testing them. If it is the latter, Mechlin believes that they will have to undergo a crucible that may see most of the flock destroyed to prove their worth. He is preparing himself for that grim inevitability. Outside of his fearful ways, Mechlin, I don't know if people in the ecclesiarchy can marry, so I don't know if I want to give them a family or not. We're just going to say Mechlin keeps a close circle of friends that remember life before the rift and want to either go to Terra or find a way to restore imperial peace, such as it was, to Gilead. The guidance of one with a gene seed may be enough to bolster his resolve. So this dude probably has not seen a Space Marine in a long time. Hello, Looney. I'm glad to see you. So Mechlin Tassadar has likely not seen a Space Marine, maybe ever, but certainly not in recent memory. So if he does see one, maybe that's going to be like, oh, the Emperor has heard our prayers. So that might be a good connection for for the Space Marine and or Marines in the game. That is the player characters. I like this. I like Mechlin. I don't know when or where I'm going to introduce him, but it could be a nice little thing. Maybe the whole connection to the whatever this weirdness with the scientists goes bust. Then I introduce Cardinal Mechlin. I'm glad you're having a good day there, love. All right, so we've created an NPC. Now let's create a villain. I need to remember how I'm going to start sowing the seeds for Inquisitor Tremaine Hortons to start going out of his goddamn mind. And in fact, that gives me an idea. Nope, that's the wrong one. I need to remove this secondary NPC thing. When he says, te he dicho que te amo recientemente porque te amo mucho, mucho, te amo también, mi amor. So I'm going to add a note to Cardinal Mechlin. Note. May be the first to notice the treachery of, let's see, how do we, Tremaine. That's not what I wanted to happen. Link. That's silly. That's silly that I had to do that. Anyways, treachery of Tremaine, and bring it to the group's attention. All right. Yeah, this will be great. So this will be a great pathway to introduce Cardinal Mechlin. He's maybe not going to be the best person to be an ally with. He's really going to bring more trouble to the group than not, unless this beacon thing comes to fruition. But he will notify them that Inquisitor Tremaine Hortons is out of his goddamn mind, and kind of tip them off to the plan that is being enacted. Hello, Eli. Question of the day. I remember having recurring nightmares where I slowly climbed some stairs, and at the top of the landing, colorful little furry craft balls with googly eyes and felt feet would be waiting with sharp pointy teeth. Are you talking about the movie Critters? Let's see, I'm getting work notifications. Oh, that's not as bad as I thought it would be. We're waiting for people at my work are like on the verge of having babies, so let's see. All right, so that's fantastic. I love this. Cardinal Mechlin Tassadin, great NPC. Can't wait to introduce him. Let's do another villain. We have, let's see. No, talking about the exact thing I mentioned, Critters was great. They were more like vampire teeth. So is that from anything, or was that just a thing that you like developed a fear of? Those like furry craft balls. Looney, sorry I got here late and extremely gay, yes, but I was buying clown stuff and time got away from me. I decided what the hell, I'm leaning heavily into returning to performing. Screw it, the show must go on. I'm really excited, Looney. I hope that you really knock people's socks off. You did a lot of work and you went to clown camp, so there's no reason you shouldn't show off your amazing skills. All right. So for a villain, we've got an Inquisitor, so that's Imperial villain. We've got Galvanus. He's technically a Chaos villain. Raphandelia, Drukhari villain, and Phenodius. He's like, I guess like a Hive villain, but I'm kind of I'm kind of waffling on whether or not I want Phenodius to be a villain. I want him to like sympathize with the group and be like, yeah, I did a really bad thing and I don't want the Imperium to just destroy me outright. Can y'all help me out? It's like I'm yes, I'm a Hive gang leader, but I also am looking out for my interest and the interest of the people under me. Like let us survive down here the way we know how and don't mess with us even though I screwed up. But we need another villain. Looney says, "Thank you, amores de mi amores. Very flattered by your opinion." Yeah, I'm really super eager to see what happens with your performances. Okay, let me think. I could introduce a Tau villain, but I don't know that that would necessarily work for the story. The Tau are just very minorly involved, and so it wouldn't necessarily make a huge impact. The Tyranid as an enemy wouldn't work. They work on such a large scale, except for Gene Stealers, and then Gene Stealers. I don't know that I really want to wedge them into this story, because anywhere they'd be, I don't know. It just feels like it would change the tone. You know what? Let's do a Necron. Let's see, is this working? Okay, but we can't just say Necron. So or Necron. I don't know. Um, for whatever reason, the Necrons have a very strong Egyptian theme, but I don't want to just say Ramses. These things, they were a thing. Well, now I'm curious. Copy. What do we got? Oh, okay. Yeah, I do remember those. But with the vampire teeth, huh? That's interesting. Looney says, won't spoil too much, but I decided on a change of aesthetic. Ooh, I'm excited. But when I mentioned Critters, the movie, it reminded me of the um shoot, what's the name of that cartoon company? The Filmation cartoon Brave Star, which was like the follow up to He-Man, which was like a space sheriff, um, and his sidekick, which was voiced by Charlie Adler. And trying to remember the sidekick's name. I think his name was Furball. But there was an episode where Sheriff Bravestar called Furball a critter, and apparently that was a slur. So they were trying to teach people about not saying slurs with that episode, and I think it's really, really funny. Um, I mean, it was almost like unintentionally. Looney says, Ramses? Did you say Ramses? Return the slab! But anyways, yeah, Brave Star was a trip. Almost more than like it was a better animated than He-Man, I think. Not by a lot, but it looked nicer. But it was also way funnier because it was really silly. There was also Tex Hex, also voiced by Charlie Adler. Really good character. Um, that show was very interesting. Um, I'm stuck on a name for this Necron. How about if we name him Ammon? Shoot, I don't want to just name him Ammon, but I need something to follow this up with. Ammon. Shoot, I just need to look up like ancient Egyptian. Oh no, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. This guy's name is gonna be Abraxas. So Abraxas will be, let's just think about this for a second. Necron Overlord. Only just waking up after years of imprisonment. Well, millions of years of imprisonment. The containment chamber fashioned for a neutron, no, fashioned to function in tandem with a nearby neutron star, finally stopped working about 100,000 years ago. Backup systems have failed. Let's see, Looney says, I remember Bravestar, yeah, sadly was not as big a deal as He-Man down here. You could tell because the networks did not commission a Spanish version of the theme song performed by Captain Memo. Wow. Eli says, En Sabah Nur is a good reference to an Egyptian character name. Eli, I'm curious, what is En Sabah Nur? As for me as a kid watching Bravestar, I had to catch it like way later in terms of my youth. Like I might have been in like second or third grade, and it was only when I stayed home sick that I got to watch Bravestar. It was like a silly time slot. So I only ever watched like one or two episodes as a child. But watching it now as an adult, like the whole thing through, it's so silly. Um, oh, that's cool. Okay. Hmm. Okay, let me integrate that, but I'm gonna do that in a different way. Um, a failed war against his rival, Nur, and uh, led to his imprison. Oh, son of a gun, son of. Oh, oh, sorry. Gosh, weird pain in my side. It's okay. Oh, that was inexplicable. I don't know what that was. Imprisonment. Abraxas is still is still bitter and will seek to raise an army against his old rival. Yes, and we'll just call him. is still in stasis, but by choice. Abraxas may just wake him, but not before he has ensured his victory. Even if he does, the crossfire of this potential war may destroy or deplete the Gilead system. Abraxas is tangentially tied to the tech that these scientists are leading the group to. Abrax actually imprisonment. His prison planet, managed to escape the orbit of a neutron star thanks to an unprecedented planetary collision. The chunk of prison containing him flew into the, what did we call it? Locations. I don't think I've moved the locations. I need to do that actually. Looney says, Eli says, now throw in Exodia. I don't know, but it's like maybe Exodia is just like 5 different Necrons, and if you get them in the same room, then the Necrons all win. Looney says, I was gonna make an Abraxos no Balaxos joke, but then I realized it was way too much a Mexican in joke. Now you need to explain it, Looney. I want to know what this in joke is. All right, so there is a machete auction warehouse. Oh, the Inquisitrix Gethsemane. I need to add that, but maybe I'll do that next time. So I want to finish this up and then move on to the next one. Enoch, no. Phenodius, Garvardi cluster. Okay. Go into the Garvardi cluster. He is slowly waking up thanks to the energies of the world. Disrupting his stasis chamber. Eli says, Exodia was the name of the exoplanet that collided with the prison planet. Yes, I am okay with that. Peterine. Cortex, Omega, and Exodia. Let's just say prison world, Exodia, a rogue exoplanet. I want to imagine that Exodia, the rogue exoplanet, is still flying through space. Like it just knocked into, like it deflected off of Cortex Omega, and maybe smashed it. Maybe it was bigger, but I want to imagine that Exodia is just flying through space, slamming into different planetary objects like a ping pong ball or like a pinball. Waiting until it hits, like, I don't know, a black hole, or maybe a like a megastar. But the funny thing is that it's not likely to. Like, it's if it's gonna have like the collision core, like planetarily, or like speaking in terms of celestial objects, it's never gonna fly directly into a giant object. It's always gonna like fly near it, and then unless it just happens to have a completely seamless trajectory right into something like that. Space is empty, yeah. Um oh, it always makes me think of the opening to Thundar the Barbarian. Um and they were able to sneak in like a little conspiracy theory about the planet Nibiru, which everybody thinks is like the, I don't know, 11th planet or some business like that. I guess now it would be the 10th planet. And that it's like on an elliptical orbit, and so it's gonna like come in close contact with the Earth. This is, you can look this up. People are crazy. Um, but I love the fact that it like became the kind of focal point for a cartoon. Uh, and the gosh, I like, my brain tells me that there's like a little animated sequence of like this drive-by planet just shattering the Earth and returning it to some primordial magic scape. Man, I hope they don't reboot Thundar the Barbarian, because it was so good for being so silly, and like if they redo it, they're gonna ruin it somehow. Oh wow. Okay. Let's see, but that's what makes it a freak occurrence. Yeah, absolutely. Just like on Yu-Gi-Oh, I think they only used Exodia the one time. It's been there multiple times. I think there was someone who had the Exodia cards in a later episode, but I don't think anyone ever actually did the Exodia again. I could be wrong. Looney says, okay, so basically when the current mouth-breathing idiot who runs Mexico is campaigning, he claimed he could solve the organized crime violence problem with love. Okay. Therefore, one of his very, very profoundly stupid campaign slogans become abrazos no balazos. So abrazos no balazos. That's amazing. You can see how much of a success his slogan political ideology ended up being, and when the dead to cartels count consistently outpaced the COVID dead. Counter all through the pandemic. That's terrible. Eli says, what's the name of this supposed planet that orbits on the exact opposite side of the sun relative to Earth? That's hilarious. And the fact that that's so dumb. But I could see there being a conspiracy theory for that. I don't know what that is. I don't know the name of that planet. That's funny. That's really funny. Yeah. I'll look it up. I'm curious now. But I mean, obviously there's all these let's say it, cockamamie ideas out there. I've lived through several ends of the world with all these highfalutin cults thinking that they were like, oh, we're gonna do the what was the one with the people? Shit, Heaven's Gate. That's the one. Man, those people were dumb. And apologies if there's any present company that was affected by that. That was a terrible tragedy, but boy, that was, well, anyway. Okay, Braxis may seek power from a Catan he knows is prisoned, similar to his previous captivity, and may be on a collision course to the same location as the group. Goals. Abraxas wants to form an army and may co-opt a Forge World to do it. Transforming any living beings into... I don't know if that's a thing that Necrons can do. Can they turn humans into automatons? Into fresh but weak Necrons? Question mark? Not sure if that is possible. May also just create a stable and powerful AI to do its bidding. And create automatons. Maybe that one is more likely. Antichthon, yeah. I have heard of that. That's funny. You know, the funny thing about that though is that, like, as much fun as I make of that, like, at least that's more plausible than Flat Earth. Like, I could see there being something on the other side of the sun and someone being like, well, how do you know it? Because we would never be able to see it. That's plausible. I could understand why you would believe that. There's all sorts of reasons that it wouldn't. I mean, and just not the least of which would be the statistical probability of such a thing happening. And then far less the statistical chance that it's a rock of any importance. Exactly. But it's not Flat Earth. Like, Flat Earth is just so ridiculous. I could go on about that, but I'm not gonna. Okay. I can't just throw Abraxas in. So the group will run into some of his drones. Automated ships. Let's see. Intelligent void craft, but with no crew. And perhaps even a handful of Necrons working on Necrons he woke to work under him. Probably in the low thousands. So the idea would be Abraxas has woken up, like, let's just say, like a small honor guard of like 3,000 or 4,000 Necrons. They're not all working towards the same goal. They're spread out through the Gilead system trying to find the traces of this Catan so that he can, like, wake it up and try and fight against, what did we call him? ESN? But it's going to be like something that they'll eventually clash with. Looney says, did you know that a very short time, one of Mexico's higher ranked Catholic renegade offshoot cults embraced Marshall Applewhite? Shortly before Heaven's cult did their horrible thing, the La Luz del Mundo cult promoted him very hard, so much so that Applewhite himself was flabbergasted. Then they oh goodness. very quickly in memory hold all of it. Oh my god. Now I'm gonna have to look this up. So it's funny, I'm looking up the Wikipedia page to this, and there's no English wiki page for it. Looks like maybe... Oh no, there is. I'm sorry. There is. Interesting. I'm going to read that later. Eli says, you know the Red Star and Chrono Trigger was based off of a real-life theory. Tell me more. All right. I think I've got a good bit on Abraxas. I think he's suitably good. I'm going to open up the locations. I think it should be easy enough. Excuse me. Ooh. So the Garvardi cluster, let's see, shoot. Outlaw Asteroid Haven, home to a slew of outlaws, heretics, ne'er-do-wells, and others, may contain heretical Inquisition group. Will contain, including being a headquarters for the Black Inquisitrix. Warring Chaos cults, and the game is being played by proxy, so at least 4 cults are fighting for territory on the cluster. Alright, we'll talk about more. I want to throw in something, though. Also, Cynthia is made here using... We're just going to call it Secret Xenos Horticulture Chaos Energy and a captured Tyranid creature. This could be interesting. Looney says, you won't find much about it, I'm afraid. La Luz del Mundo was very thorough and extremely aggressive in wiping every instance of them promoting Heaven's Gate. To this very day, if you mention, you're likely to catch hands from it. Like, they're that serious. Like, you even mention it and they'll just punch you in the face. It's very interesting. Wow. Is it one of those like open secrets in Mexico? Like most Mexicans just know it, but documentation of it has just been expunged. Hmm. I'm pretty sure that there's people who would be very mad at me for coming up with this idea for the drug Cynthia. Um, this drug is secretly, no, is subtly creating gene stealers, but ones that are prone to corruption from the warp. I like this idea. Let me see. Eli says, at least that makes sense, but in the good old US of A, we have documented cooks and people still love them. Kooks, I guess. No, and it would be with a C as it's based off of cuckoos, so kooks. But yeah, I mean, I would. There are a lot of documented cults in the United States, but I'm almost certain that there's a lot that have been very quietly brushed under a rug. Looney says, not really. Most Mexicans don't know about it and frankly don't care, safe in the knowledge that if a Luz del Mundo got too uppity, they'd literally be skinned alive, set on fire from Guadalupanos who comprise 85% of the country's population. So Looney, that begs the question, how do you know about it? I'm very curious. And that's not skepticism. That's me being curious as to how you came upon forbidden knowledge. It sounds like an adventure. Let's see. So we're gonna just create Cynthia real quick. A strange synthetic drug created by the forces of chaos, experimenting with a captured Tyrannid. Is it two ends? Used to create chaos gene stealers. Maybe wildly out of canon? Not sure. I kind of doubt that, Eli, but that's funny. Who's the Reformed Scientologist person? Is it Leah Remini? I think that's her name. I don't think Looney is a Leah Remini. Eli says, did I ever ask if there were xenomorphs in Warhammer? You know, it's funny. I think there were in early drafts, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Oops. Tyrannid. Okay. I'm just going to add the Black Inquisitrix. Black Inquisitrix. Gethsemane or Truvius. Vananite Inquisitor. Let's see. Vananite Inquisitor excommunicated is in the Underhive trying to undermine the local authority, working with the Drukari trying to use the Webway portal to cause a catastrophic event that will destroy or cripple the Fortress Hive Biomedes. And she will then bring in her forces to replace them. She needs to ensure that the Inquisitor Hortense is assassinated. Her sister is the Inquisitrix Trixie, aka Inquisitrixie, whom is quite insane and will likely seek unholy vengeance if her sister is killed. This is almost too silly. I'm going to italicize it because I might excise it, but I don't know. I'll think about it. Looney says, I know because I hung out with kooks and other assorted weirdos when I was young. There were a lot of fucked up stuff that you can learn only through word of mouth and hear. Interesting stuff, but also very dangerous stuff. Well, be careful. Thankfully, I don't think anyone from Mexico is watching this stream. Let's see. I think that's everything I want to include for right now. There's just one more thing I want to look up. Because there's one other NPC that I think I might want to throw in. Administratum official Tendrin Lasac. We're just going to throw him in because I've created him. Now we just need to make him official. I think the group will run into Tendrin Lasac. Intro world. No. Well, once they're done with all of these crazy things. So they're going to go through him and not Hortense to go to the next area. All right. So we've done a lot. There's still more to switch over from the old document, but this is good. All right. Sorry, I said I was going to go quick on this, but we ended up spending the same amount of time. Dawn of Fae, we didn't play last time. I did create the items that I said I was going to create. Let's see. Next session planning. We didn't play last time, so we're just going to call this 525. Whoops. Battle against the red... Nope, actually. Moving mountain. Mountain is very cold. No. This is correct. So this will happen the 25th. Yeah, this all is still good. I don't need to add anything in here. I think we are good to go. Maybe for... Let's just go into... Moderate dose of socialism is good. How else will you get people to care about other people? Looney says, I mean, a very staunch socialist in youth, so you could say I'm in fact a reformed ex-member of a dangerous cult of lunatics. I think socialism in moderation is probably closer to what we see as capitalism. Like, I think that a capitalistic society that it has things like charities and social safety nets in place could charitably be called moderate dose of socialism. There are people who fight against it, obviously, but I would say that like the better parts of our modern American society are that. Could be better, I would say. I think it needs like a more bigger dose, I guess, of that, but there is also a very heavy argument against, I don't know, there's a lot of socialism happening in the world right now that is causing a lot of problems. I will say that, such as in Venezuela, for example. But that's maybe a bigger conversation than I have time for right now. Actually, by the time we play again, it's going to be 30, 31, 30. So it's going to be June 1st. So group will have to find a way to counter the Zizikal and get up onto it. May require an airship for flight, in which case they will fight a Leviathan. No, not a Leviathan. What is... doggone it. Eli says, I'll copy the red star thing and paste it later. It's moved off screen. No worries. It is Elder Tempest. That's what it is. Elder Tempest. Fine. Pack of ice trolls. 2d4 plus 4. Teleport. Dimensional prison. Fight against 2 beholders and a... No, that's too mean. 1 beholder, 5 chewels. It's another aberrant creature. Excuse me, Looney says, agree to disagree and all that, but I don't subscribe to the idea that empathy is a mental state that socialism leads to. Mexico is a socialist country right now, and not a single Morena party thug cares one single bit about anything but enriching themselves through illegal means. Yeah, I think it would be fair to say that a lot of socialism mechanisms end up leading to kleptocracies, which is just an unfortunate state of human nature. And I could say a lot about the, let's call it the human nature that ruined socialist experiments. But, I mean, again, that's getting very philosophical for my purposes. Inquisitor of the Sword. No. Jamstalker. Amethyst Dragon? What is a star spawn Gru? Dismiss. The Star Spawn are actually in the. So they started off being in Mordenkainen's Totem of Foes, and then they got re-released in the Multiverse of Monsters that just came out. They didn't used to all have art, but they've been given art now, which is fantastic because I had no idea what they looked like before. Starspawn Hulk. Hmm. Although doing something out of Tome of Beasts would be really neat. What is a Star Spawn Mangler? I just want to say Star Spangled Banner. I like the Star Spawned Mangler. This guy does not have art though, which is really sad. I guess he got removed. He didn't just get moved up. But I like it. I'm gonna use it. 2-star spawn manglers. That should be fun. Let's just say 1, 2, 3. Chul. Add 1 Chul, and for every 2 allies, 1 Star Spawn Mangler for every 4 allies. Cool. Okay, I think we have a good setup. So if they fly in, they have to fight an Elder Tempest, which is going to be really dangerous if they're flying. If they have to climb, they're going to fight a pack of Ice Trolls. Let's make it 3d4, just to be spicy. And then if they teleport, it's going to be, they're going to trigger, shoot, what is her name? Valindra Shadowmantle's trap card and get teleported into a dimensional prison. But if they win, they pop out and they can then fight Valindra. But this will be a really fun fight. So a Beholder, 2-star Spawn Manglers, and 3 Chul. If they've got a bunch of allies, and they're eventually going to have to fight like more of them as a response. Okay. Cool. All right. That's it for Dawn of Thay. There's just a lot of fighting going on in the next couple of sessions. I'm going to introduce the idea of maybe this being like a capstone for the game, but we'll see. Star Spawn of Cthulhu. Yeah, and so those are different. Those are very powerful, the Star Spawn of Cthulhu. But, could include one of those. I might. Maybe I'll replace the Beholder with the Star Spawn of Cthulhu. That would be fun. Klaus the Gnome. Let's move on to that one real quick. Old session notes. Did I not write? Okay. So 525. Let's see. Weird guy. Event Horizon. New boat. Lots of carvings. Maybe get treasure and fight sea monster? Question mark. So this is for Klaus the Gnome. It's weird. I don't know why I didn't end up. Is this its own thing? Oh, it is. That's why. So now we're going to add last session notes. So that would have been 18, 2022. let's see. So Klaus went to fun places like Big Botanical Garden. Cultists following Klaus ended up dead. Looney says, I like how the Klaus' session notes can be a sort of guide to life. Acquire boat, avoid weirdos, question marks, profit. Absolutely. Killer on the loose. Okay. Shoot. Looney, help me out here. What happened after that? I know that you, oops. Found boat, got on it. Found pirates at sea. They said a sea monster sunk their boat. Claimed it was to the west on an island with treasure. Klaus followed by air, or Klaus went to the west by air and ran into an abandoned boat with crazy no eyes guy. Another question mark. Because Looney, I don't remember if Klaus had a fight that week, but I thought he did with like whoever killed those cultists. But I can't remember. We can probably come back to that though. But this is as much as I want to reveal without like being spoilerific. Because these are things that I've kind of foreshadowed, so it's not outrageous for me to say like, hey, you might fight a sea monster because I said that there was sea monsters last time. All right, Cloying Darkness. So this is brand new. We really haven't done anything with this. Why don't I maybe start writing some information down? An Eberron game. Let's see, can I? Okay. An Eberron game taking place, we'll say 7 years after the events of, shoot, what did I call that game? I'm gonna have to look it up. Looney says, no, we had no combat in that session, if I recall. Mystery that we even have the adorable dragon cop tagging along with us. That's right, I remember now. They're trying to figure out. In fact, let's go back real quick. House the Gnome, old session notes. The best thing is there's this whole section like on the left where I can write things, and as long as I don't like click on them, then you won't see them, so I can't spoil it. How's about if we do this? Local police suspect Klaus, but sent direct, like, let's pseudo dragon cop along to keep an eye on Klaus and magically bring him back if they find evidence he was involved. Cop named Whiskerfang, I think. Sergeant. Looney says, and I repeat myself, but what an absolute fucking banger of a session that was. Still haven't recovered fully from it. That's awesome. All right. So that's good. I have now recalled more information. Cloying darkness. So the premise of it, then. Dragon Cop's name is correct. Yes, it's coming back to me now. I just needed a little bit of a refresher. So the Cloying Darkness is basically going to be like somewhat of an aftermath of a previous game that I ran. Although I cannot recall if I had a Roll20 for it or not. There was War Drums of Mount Nimrod. Flying Shadows, Lost Mines. I don't know who that is. Our Monsters Dwell. Mirror of Starlight. Curse of Fen and Old Kingdoms. I'm really sad I never got to finish that one. Curse of Strahd. Tree Below. Sorry, I'm going through my old Roll20 campaigns. Ah, in the Shadow of Dargoon. Yes, that's the one. God, that one ended September 7th of 2020. We're already coming up on the 2-year anniversary of it. That's kind of a bummer. Not because it ended, but because the follow-up campaign ended poorly. I've already talked about my Sunday game. So, in the Shadows of Dargoon will involve these strange events that lead to resurfacing of Mournland events and strange incursions by Mabar. Ghostly tides will lead to many consequences, some benign, some are benign, such as the advent of ghostly towns and societies living peacefully next to others. Some consequences are dire, such as the formation of deathly empires led by ghost monarchs. Dead set, pun intended, on dragging parts of Corvair into Mabar to add to their kingdoms. Of Mabaran city-states. Okay, I love this idea. So I'm borrowing a little bit from Exalted and from the Kindred of the East, but there's a concept of the Jade Kingdom, and it's a little at least the Kindred of the East is a little bit beset by some very unfortunate Asian tropes. But the idea is that there's an afterlife in Asia that falls in line with things like the Jade Emperor, who rules and has very Asian themed like afterlife, kind of harkening back to I guess what you would call like ancient China. You move that into Exalted, which is a lot more fictional, and you have like a more fantasy sword and sandals kind of area where the Mercury, but in Exalted you've got the undead kingdoms, which are just ruled by powerful ghosts, and if a ghost is revered in the world of the living, then they gain power in the world of the dead. So you have people who, through like literal cults of personality, are given power by their still living mortal relatives. They use that power to then control empires of the dead, just ghosts who live an afterlife and kind of form these weird kingdoms. And so I'm going to import that idea into Eberron, where these kingdoms exist in Mabar being like kind of the dimension of the dead, the dimension of darkness, which sometimes bleeds into Eberron. This time it's going to bleed really heavily. Holy cow, Eli, that's true? Eli says, Chinese emperor literally ingested mercury to live longer. He had a mote of it in his tomb. That's great. How did it just kill the people that discovered his tomb? If anybody in fact unearthed it? That's outrageous. Anyway, thinking into this, but yeah, the idea that it's these ghost kingdoms surfacing, coming into conflict with the world of Eberron, with the continent of Corvair, rousing armies, unifying people in a way that they haven't before, threatening to stoke the fires of war, maybe even trying to make alliances with the enemies of old enemies from the 100 Years' War that just previously came. This is a capital idea. I'm loving it immensely, and I need to do more research on Mabar because I feel like I'm twisting the lore a little too much, but I am going to forgive myself for doing that. I have a lot more to do with this that I'll want to start to tweak. I need to start making characters, but why don't we make a character right now? So this will be an NPC. So Stella Stillwell, I'm not really making a character, I'm just importing an old one. Why is it not? There we are. It's a goblin woman, head of the IIIU, International Incident Investigation Unit. Veteran of the Yellow Monarch Actually, we'll call him the Ochre Monarch event. And kind of like a Nick Fury. Okay. Eli says, Qin Shi Huang. It is said to be a vast room in which all of China is modeled in exquisite detail on the floor. The ceiling is a great arch of the night sky with pearls and other precious stones representing the stars. Most impressively of all, 100 rivers, lakes, and oceans represented by liquid mercury flowing constantly from perpetual mechanical pumps. That's amazing. Let's see. Will be heavily invested in the events leading up to the Night of No Stars, a prescient omen of the Mabaran incursion. Will be hasty to assemble a group. May be sneaky about recruiting through adventuring guilds. May consider using an old ally to be a de facto mentor to the group. This should be interesting. Stationed in Sharn. So, Looney, this might interest you, but the last time I ran a game set in the world of Eberron, one of the NPCs was Yellow Dancer. I need to pick up my old notes, but there was Yellow Dancer, Thrusa, and Zarathrusa, and I can't remember who the third person was. But basically, there was a whole interesting thing going on between those three, which I don't want to spoil in case I decide to use that again. But I'm bringing in elements of my other games into the Klaus game. Let's see. So I think we're just going to start with that. I have some really interesting ideas now that I've kind of formed. That literally this idea just came to me. Like I knew I was going to bring in Mabar, but like making it these incursions of like these dead cities and so on. Should be fascinating. Eli says mercury mixed with crushed cinnabar mixed with honey and wine. It is in this form bound to sulfur atoms. Mercury is more or less biologically inert. I didn't know such a thing was possible. I don't know that it would necessarily have like good medicinal properties, but who knows? All right. Okay. So I am being called away by my roommates, so I will be right back. I'm going to just put on the 5-minute break, but I will return and we will talk about the next handful of things. I'll be right back. Okay, bitches, you got Yeah. Oops. All right, I am back. Sorry about that. Okie dokie. All right, so there's more to do here, but I've got a whole month to really flesh it out. And I really need to start making more characters, but I will. In fact, I'm just going to make one quick one. We're going to name it. So we're going to say, oh, this is going to be fun. Uh, hmm. Blade of Darkness. And this is just going to be the Undead Lord of Blades. And see, this is a very big plot point, and one that is like, of all the things I'm saying here are very secret for this game, this is super secret. The Blade of Darkness is the ghost of the Lord of Blades, because the Lord of Blades died in my previous game. So he's coming back as one of the super powerful ghosts. And in 7 years, he has amassed an army of all of the dead Warforged. And that includes the Warforged who died during the war, and that there's a lot of dead Warforged. So he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Okay, Looney says, "Oh yeah, quote of the day. Can you believe Batman 89 used to give me anxiety? Love that movie, watched it a ton of times, but it gave me anxiety attacks every single time. And that's not all because the anxiety attacks also extended to the old NES game. Quite the experience. Trying to play video while grasping for air because the anxiety attacks would cause my windpipe to close partially for whatever reason." So, Looney, what parts of that movie gave you anxiety? Which I totally get it. I just am curious. That's not a negation of your feelings of that. I honestly am just curious, like what bits of it maybe were upsetting. I know the part for me that made me really upset was like when the Joker was using Chemical X and messing with those people um, to prove a point or whatever he was doing. While beyond Witchlight, um, so there's not a lot to plan here. I'm still trying to think of how I want to really keep this going. So let's just say, oops, 527. Group arrives, sees hobgoblins, learns of existence of hag. Um, Hobgoblins are being manipulated, but some of the leadership is actively taking part in the cruelty. Hag is not interested in the food of the kobolds, but in their suffering, uses their pain to power device that will help her fight her mortal enemy. Group may decide to help the hag or to defeat her. Mortal enemy is Tasha. Help. group is asked to slay a powerful being, maybe the War Duke or the Evil Wizard. This will provide the energy instead of the kobold suffering. So we've got some notes here. There's not a lot I really want to do with this because I'm still kind of fiddling with this, but I think this is a good start. So I'm trying to stick with Wilds Beyond Witchlight, but we'll see how closely I stay with that. Call of the Netherdeep, we're taking a week off because a handful of people are not going to be there this week. So let's just have a look. And he says, I don't know any specific part, just the general atmosphere gave me the willies, like the giant statues and stuff made me uneasy. The Super Joy buzzer kill did give me nightmares for a couple of weeks now that I remember. So Looney, I'm very curious though, especially with all of that being said and done. Let's see. It's also 527. Let's see, group is in Bazzoxan. May be asked by locals to rid the area of the gibbering menace. Also must speak to someone about the necklaces. Will go to, let's see. See, but Looney, I was going to ask you how you feel about that movie through the lens of being a clown. Let's see, speak of some of the necklaces. We'll go to Moon Temple. Old session notes. So 5/20/22. Arrival at Bazzoxan. Fight gibbering mouthers. Save one single soldier, a guard. Others transformed into gibbering mouthers. Guard captain rewards group. A little frustrated. Group talks to Italian armor master. Group will go to Moon Temple later. Spoke with Acolyte. And sorry, I forgot to click out of this so that you can actually see what I'm typing. I feel like I'm missing something. There's something else that happened last time. But in case you didn't know, Call of the Netherdeep is the Critical Role campaign. Oh yeah, so I'm actually missing quite a bit. Nope. Group finds a strange axe in a cave at the bottom of the complex. It is quote-unquote ruidium. can't remember what happened after they spoke with the Acolyte. I might have to see if anybody recorded notes online. Next session planning. Read more. May have to rouse the rivals to act. So we need to go through the book and see. We're not playing, so the next time we play is going to be actually, so I guess the 3rd of June. Or no, this is, okay. So then June 10th will be the one after that. Okay, so I've got some time, but I really need to read more on this and see. I swear there was something else on the old notes where they talked to the Acolyte and then I don't remember what happened. I know the Acolyte was being a goofy teen. I even gave him like the squeaky voice teen voice. Looney says, I mean, I kind of have mixed feelings about any and all versions of Joker. I like the character, but the evil clown stereotype he's helped to uphold has sort of made our jobs a bit more difficult, but I've never really given it much thought. That makes sense. I mean, I don't know. The Joker, yes, I think you're correct, but like there are so many other negative depictions of clowns that I almost think that the Joker is kind of more benign. But I don't know. I can't authoritatively say that. It's like I'm sure that there are people with more knowledge and experience than me that might have more to say on the matter of what and how the Joker has affected in the sense of whatever, clown perceptions there are. Which, by the way, I can't remember if it was like if God damn it. Anyways, I can't remember if it was it 2014, 2015 when there were all those weird clown sightings? I wonder if anyone ever debunked those. Looney says, I mean, if you want to see me get super salty, ask me about Pennywise. I have learned to hate Stephen King. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I think the most interesting thing, well, amongst the most interesting things about that is Tim Curry, deathly afraid of clowns, despite the fact that he played Pennywise, and so he did not allow mirrors on the set of that the old TV series. But the one thing that really makes me angry is that the new Pennywise in the new movies, they went with like basically a model. Like the guy that they had play, I know it's one of the Skarsgård brothers, and I can't remember his name. But anyways, they went with someone who is so like conventionally beautiful that people fell in love with Pennywise, and now he's like revered as this like weird icon, and it bugs me. Because it's like he's really a spider. Like he's really just this giant dimensional spider, but y'all keep trying to personify this guy into something that's like a love interest, like he's in some kind of damn dating sim, but whatever. I'm saying conventionally attractive because there are a lot of women who find I cannot remember for the life of me what is his name. I'm gonna look it up. It's not Alex Skarsgård because he was the one from True Blood. Um, Bill Skarsgård. Yeah. And I mean, I can only blame it on the fact that like dude is legit a model. Like he is a model. He like wears clothes on a runway and you know, is paid many dollars to like model clothes. And they turned him into Pennywise, and now he's like some kind of a weird sex symbol, and it's disgusting. I'm not saying I find that actor in clown makeup attractive, um, but many people do, and it's gross. Like I think that this like fetishization of this monster, um, it goes back to other things. Like there's other instances of it that make me really angry. Like whenever people sexualize like, you know, actual monsters or like movie villains, and then all of a sudden, or let's be honest, serial killers. People will be like, oh, but you know, these serial killers though, or like these people on death row, and then like but that's a thing it's been a thing forever. But it never, like, I don't know, it bugs me when stuff like that happens, because it's like, why it's like the serial killer and the death row thing, you can't help that. But this almost seems like they wanted it to happen. Like the movie studio almost wanted it to be a thing. Looney says, "Oh Lord, the spooky clown craze. Jesus, that was an absolute shit show. I went to 12 clown conventions throughout that year, and on every single one, my colleagues were losing their shit, thinking our careers were shot. I was not a year into the business. Very depressing. I was certain that I was doomed to go back to the translation grind. Oh God, I'm glad you weathered it. I don't know what that was, that whole business. I don't remember what year that was, but boy. Anyway, anyway, I kind of digressed there. Okay. Gosh, we actually spent a lot more time on this than I had wanted to. Just the whole stream in general. All right, Tyranny of Dragons. We're just gonna move on. Old session notes. So last time on Dragon Ball Z. So that would have been, because we didn't play, so there was a huge gap, but it would have been 22, 21. Group, Bound Boat, Baldur's Gate crew, with Stern Captain and lots of weird crew. We're gonna say, who got to know them? I cannot recall who is like really forming those friendships. I want to say it was Sparkle, I think. Yeah, or Sparkles. Sparkles used Unseen Servant to help crew with tedious work. The group eventually found out about a crew member who was being sketchy. What was his name? He was Arknot. Secret follower of Bane and wannabe vampire. Snuck away when he was on the verge of being discovered. Will attack Karuk later. Group arrives in East Point, a port town in, and by the way, I'm totally making this up, so I know East Point doesn't actually exist, but a port town in the Moonshae Isles. Learn a lot about local culture, meet learn a lot about local culture, meet local green, not green, is it green? What the hell is shoot. Okay, Eli. Thanks for hanging out. The Harpers. I don't know why I was thinking green. Harper's agent, a Minotaur woman. So it's are told about a local dragon cult nest. Group arrives at nest, spends some time snooping, finds cave, fight guards, find kobolds, fight kobolds, find half red dragon vampire man, fight him. That's pretty much it. Shoot, and I did the same thing. So there's a lot going on in this previous game. Let's see, next session planning, so that's going to be 528. Looney says, as for why people have sexualized new Pennywise and his actor, chorophilia is a thing, a big thing. I don't know why, but nowadays, as you put it, someone even slightly conventionally attractive in a clown's get up, and folks will go crazy. Literally every single one of my female colleagues has at least a dozen. Drunken uncle that wants to put the moves on the payasita at the nephew's birthday party. Stories, myself included, of course. I have no idea how or why this happens. That's terrible. Oh, and let's see, Eli, you said the star was named Nemesis, and every 27 million years it'd swing by and cause mass extinction. People at the time found that mass extinctions appeared to be cyclical, and they blamed it on that. That's interesting. All right. Thank you, Eli. Have a good night. All right. So 528. I'm just going to make some notes for myself. Nope. Why can I not? So let's see if I can. Yeah, that's perfect. 5/28, 2022. All right, so read up on Moon Bay Isles, incorporate more of Horde of Dragon Queen, foreshadow big events in Isles involving dragon monstrosities. Consider creating a volcanic island as the HQ. So there are some rudimentary notes. I think we're going to have to just rely on those for now. As I mentioned, we're running a little bit late. Colossus and Coast I'm not going to really even bother with. We didn't play last time, and we're not going to play again for another couple of weeks, and I kind of feel like we probably won't next time because of some circumstances. I may abandon this one just depending on how things go, because let me just do a quick thing. old session notes. So let's see, we didn't play this last Sunday, but it would have been 5:15. Played, had fun, kaiju, and Antico cultists. So we're not going to play again probably. So it wouldn't be next. Well, it would be next Sunday, but it won't because stuff is happening. And then the week after that, June 5th would be. Actually, we wouldn't play June 5th because I've got graduation, so I'm not going to be able to make it. And then June 12th, possibly. Sorry. June 12th might be the next time we play. So we'll see. A whole month after. But we'll see if that happens. We'll see if people retain interest. But if not, this might be a reason to shut her down. We'll see. Looney says, obviously the volcanic island headquarters has to be in the shape of a skull. It's tradition. Usos y costumbres. Yeah, it's just the way it is. All right, but that's it. We finally made it through everything. Let me see. Add a page. We're gonna do just a very short Q&A. Q&A 5/23/2022. All right, Looney. Do you have any questions for me this week? Maybe we'll do one or two and then we'll be done. I would ask if anybody else has questions. Eli has gone, and I don't know if any of the other people in the chat are either lurkers or bots, or lurker bots. So we'll just go with your questions unless a lurker bot should happen to want to speak or type. Boy, we really did spend a lot of time on Warhammer. I'm kind of glad. I didn't think we were gonna, but there's a lot of really interesting things that I've kind of like the NPC I created was oh boy, here I go asking again, Looney says. I am going to comment on the whole thing. What was it again? Colorophilia is real. Like, it absolutely is. But I feel like at the same time, there's other instances of like the bad guy or the monster being like seen as a sex object, and it's really weird. I didn't think of what the last time was that I saw that. Like, it was really like bizarre how it turned into that. But God, God, I swear it was like a really prominent movie. And in a way that didn't make sense either. It's like people who sexualize Beetlejuice or the Grinch. That kind of thing troubles me. When he says, what is the single most confusing explanation one of your players has given to you, be it about an action they've taken or an item or previous session summary? There have been just some sessions. Let's like, what is the let's see, the most confusing explanation one of my players has given me. So let me think. Okay, I'll give you the perfect one. And this wasn't even a question in the session. This was a question about a session. So okay, I'm gonna lay out the whole thing for you. So a while ago, we're talking like over 10 years ago, over 15 years ago, maybe even at this point, my friends came to me and were very excited. They wanted me to run a ninja game for them. Now that's it. They just said run a ninja game for us. And I was like, okay, a little bit of a weird request, but I can fulfill it. And so they're like, yeah, this is gonna be great. We're gonna be ninjas and it's gonna be awesome. And so I'm thinking ninjas. I'm thinking like, you know, ninjas. Um you could go with like Hollywood ninjas. You could go with like G.I. Joe ninjas, you know, anything like that. So I was like, okay, we'll run a game with ninjas. And the whole point of my game was to be a silent and merciless group of killers. Like that's the point. Like you're assassins. Like you go around and you ninja people to death. You don't get seen. You don't raise a ruckus, and you leave as mysteriously as you came. The whole point of a ninja is to obscure your presence. Uh, you confuse the people who you are attacking. You leave no trace behind that you ever did attack. You strike fear because people know that if you are targeted by the ninja, uh, they're not likely to see it coming. So I ran a ninja game. The group caused an explosion. It killed their target, but their ninja master was upset and chastised them. The players became upset and were confused. They thought they did well and that their mission was a big success. So it turns out they didn't want a ninja game. They wanted a Naruto game. At no point ever at all, and they're asking me to run this game where they're like, hey, we want you to run a game like Naruto. Never did they ever mention or utter the word Naruto to me. And so they didn't say, run a Naruto game for me. They didn't say, oh yeah, we want this, we want to be Naruto characters. So you never said, oh, we're gonna be these like over the top like bright color wearing elemental ninjas. Not a single time did they ever utter any of that. And so they were really upset that I didn't run a Naruto game when they never at all asked me to do that. Ever. In any of their discussions. They did say, hey, have you watched Naruto? They did say, hey, isn't this really cool? And I was like, no, I haven't watched Naruto. I don't know. I'll check it out sometime, I guess. So they just thought by osmosis that I was going to watch Naruto, get excited about it, and want to run that game. But they never specifically said those things to me. I had not read or watched any of it at that time. So I was just like, whatever, I'll run this ninja game. And I got really mad. Uh, Shrug. Like, I don't know what they were expecting. Um, they went on to do that game on their own afterwards. And I'm not gonna lie, that was very frustrating circumstance. I'm still kind of frustrated about it now. Looney says they should ask you to run a Basilisk game because Basilisk is a superior ninja anime, of course. Hotarubi is love. I would have even run a Ninja Scroll game. Ninja Scroll's not that different from Naruto. Like, it's over the top ninja action. Like, everybody has like a weird gimmick, and there's still this kind of veneer of like we need to be secret, but not really. Like, how secret can you be if you're like a dude with a beehive on his hunchback? Um, or like if you use explosive zombies, that's not that's not subtle at all. So that, like, if they would have been like any of those Basilisk, Ninja Scroll, any of those things, but they were never like run us an anime ninja game. That's all they would have had to say. Run us as an anime ninja game, and I would have known exactly what they were talking about. But they came at it completely sideways, and they were like so stoked for um they were so stoked for Canadian bacon when they give them regular bacon, they were really upset. And as like I said, I'm still frustrated about that to this day. Like, it could have gone any other number of ways, but they just decided they were going to be obtuse about it. But yeah, that's to this day the most confusing situation that I've ever been a part of vis-a-vis running a role-playing game. Looney says, I mean, from what I know, Ninja Scroll is another take on the Koga Ninja Scrolls, so that works for me too. Yeah. I need to watch that TV series. I'm still mad about that quasi sequel to Ninja Scroll that was like not a sequel to Ninja Scroll, that they just shoehorned it. But that's ADV. That's a conversation for another time, because ADV did a lot of really dumb things like that. And mind you, I'm the kind of person that didn't like the American dub of Ghost Stories. I found it too dumb. I got what they were going for, but it was just like a way too puerile. But okay, I have time for one more question, and then we will stop. We are rapidly approaching the 2.5 hour mark. But if that was your one question, Looney, that is fine. If oh, let's see, Looney says we need to watch both Ninja Scroll and Basilisk together. I agree. Both of those are classics. And Ninja Scroll. Looney, did I ever tell you about the? Yeah, I told you about that during the whole Mexico trip when I was 18. We were watching Ninja Scroll, and so we were mixing. I think it was tequila with Fanta. Was it Fanta or was it Squirt? Anyways, it was grapefruit soda and tequila, and we were mixing it. And like, we would take our mixed drinks and we would drink anytime someone died. We would drink. God, I think like whenever like a new villain would appear for the first time, we would take a drink. And then so there's this bit where Jubei goes after the last bad guy. I can't remember his name, and he's trying to kill this like the final big bad boss, and he like got him by the collar, and he's like, da da. And my friend Victor was like, when he does that, number one, you have to say sa sa, and then for every one of the ones that every sa he does, then you have to take a drink. Um, okay, Looney, tell me your second question. We got wasted that night. It was probably Fresca. Those are the go-to drink to make palomas. Don't forget the MIA apple soda. Well, shoot. Evan, I think you were the one that, like, you had the apple soda, and Thomas reached for it, and you growled, and he decided not to drink it. That's how I remember it. Evan, if you have a question, feel free to ask. We are in the Q&A stage. Looney says, what is the single most selfless act of kindness one of your players has done? Gosh. Let me think. Like, sadly, I don't think... I'm trying to think of, like, let's see, what is the single most selfless act player has done? Question mark? One of my players. I mean, there's the traditional, like, staying behind to save the party. I don't think I've honestly ever seen anything like that. Necessarily. There have been plenty of times where the group has mounted a rescue mission. I can't think of specific examples, but that's happened a number of times where they're like, no, we have to rescue so and so. There have been plenty of times where the group has chosen a party member in favor of success, a reward, etc. Pop culture thing? Like, for instance, shoot, what's a good example of this? Like, it could be a horror movie, it could be like Aliens and the Chestburster, like that's a really easy example, but like it could also be like Twin Peaks scared the shit out of me. I don't know if it was meant to scare the shit out of me. I think it was meant to confuse people, but man, Twin Peaks scared the ever-loving. That's probably my answer to that question. Twin Peaks freaked me out. And I liked it. Like, it had me curious for more. Or, shoot, what's another good instance? Like, just things that maybe aren't, like, there are the things that are meant to be scary, but like something that's pop culture and scary. I think I remember watching The Last Unicorn and being like just terribly afraid of the big fireball, whatever they called that, and just like having maybe like nightmares of like what would I do if the fireball was in front of me, because it's like I couldn't fight this thing would just kill me, and so on. Trying to think of some other like weird examples of that, like just things that were not innately scary or intended to be scary but were. But like, for instance, there was an example earlier of those like little fluffy balls with like little feet on them, but that like the Eli who was here earlier said that like he had these nightmares where he would like be climbing up a ladder. Paranormal Activity, I could see that. Could not sleep after that. Yeah. um I remember having similar feelings about the Blair Witch Project before I really knew what it was. Like, I just remember the concept was freaky. Looney says, oh my god, the wolf guy from Neverending Story, that sumbitch gave me horrific nightmares for months. He was really creepy, like tremendously creepy. I know there's something else like that, something that's like in a movie that's not meant to be scary, but it is. What was the thing coming out of the dude's stomach in Total Recall? That thing legitimately gave me nightmares. I did not like looking at that. Let's see, Evan says, and my sister-in-law got up at exactly 3 a.m. to use the restroom, and she was sleepwalking that night I watched that stupid movie. Oh my god. Yeah, that would do it. I want to say the dude's name was Watto. Or Watto. Whatever that weird, like, wait, turn on the reactor, whatever that dude was. Quato, that's the one. Yeah. That dude freaked me out. Like, just the idea of it. Of there being, like, this weird, like, thing attached to you. Like, the concept of it, the body horror of it. Oh, and of course, anything by Cronenberg, like The Fly. That freaked the hell out of me, too. Um, yeah, not Watto, but Quato. Although their names are amusingly similar. I don't want to downplay the question. Selfless acts. Um, uh, like the Thursday group saving their friend Ranaki the Oni from an evil elven wizard. Press the red button. Looney says, "Oh lordy, yes, Quato is fucking nightmare fuel." Quaid. Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, there has to be something, like, I do recall, so this is the best I can answer this question. There are games of, what's it called again? Shoot, sorry, I'm blanking. Give me 1 second. Dread. So Looney, I can't remember if I described the how you play Dread, where people have sacrificed themselves for the group. So Dread is one of my favorite games, and I need to see if I can get to play it one more time, or sometime soon. Perfect for Halloween, perfect for spooky times. But it's meant to be played more or less just the one time with the same, like, characters or whatever. So the whole idea of Dread, you start with a Jenga tower. Everybody makes up their characters. You don't need to write up stats or roll dice or anything. You just say, I am so and so, and, like, let's just say you're on the space station, and you're like, I'm the engineer, I'm the ship botanist, I'm the medical officer, and so on. You, like, everybody picks their roles, and they're like, this is who I am, and this is, like, the personality that I have as this character. Like, the idea is, like, you just are the person you say you are. You kind of, like, take that improv and go with it. And so you start with a Jenga tower. If I were running a game of Dread, I'd be like, okay, you're on the space station. All of a sudden, the life supports have been knocked out. You've got like 10 hours to live because of the stray, space shrapnel. And you have to get off of the life support system, but the only escape shuttle has been launched. You don't know who launched it, but that person, this is starting to sound a lot like Among Us, but I promise you it's not. So like maybe someone amongst the entire group is like a traitor. And so as everyone's trying to like find a way off the ship, figure out who the traitor is, not die from so many of the different failing systems on the ship, every action that anyone takes, and it's all sequential, so you just go around round robin style, everybody gets a turn. Anything that someone does, they have to pick from the Jenga pile, and of course they play Jenga. You take it, you put it on top. If the Jenga pile falls over, then you either die that moment or you will die very soon. So it's like maybe you did something trivial, but like you knocked over the Jenga pile. and then that just marks you for death, or you die that instant. What you can do is heroically knock the Jenga pile over so that it gets rebuilt and other people have a chance to escape or whatever. And then that way, no one else has to suffer the potential of dying. So I've seen that happen a lot, um, and it's less maybe emotional because it's a thing might happen. It's not like something that happens organically through the mode of play. But at the same time, depending on the story, depending on who is playing and what kind of rules they've played, it might be emotional. It might be interesting because they've formed bonds in the course of play, and so the interplay, the improv, the characters bouncing off of each other, sometimes comes up with some really cool stuff. And it's been one of my most fun experiences playing games of just free form, not worrying about statistics and character sheets. Um, but yeah, like it can be tense as fuck, and it's an amazing storytelling tool. Yeah, we have to play. Like, there's no way to play this remotely, so I didn't get to play Dread for like over 2 years. The last time I played Dread was just before the pandemic. Um, there are VR Jenga games, and the fun thing is that like every time you do a Jenga thing, your fingers get longer in the VR game. So like you're starting from like over here and trying to get the Jenga tower from like way far away, which is funny, but it wouldn't work for these purposes. Um, but yeah, we absolutely have to play this. It's like it's my one of my favorite things to do ever. And I just haven't gonna relocate, need to put the kid to sleep. No worries. But that was the second question, so I think we're gonna go ahead and actually stop there. Gosh, it makes me wonder if I should start these a little bit later so that then Evan can join in. Maybe I will. I don't know. I know that this time is ideal for Eli, but we'll see. Also, this ends up being like a little bit late for our purposes of watching anime. So I don't know. Maybe I need a second night of this, of just specifically this. I think I've talked about that for a while, but I don't know. Okay, Looney, thank you for the wonderful questions. They have been amazing. Um, and so we're gonna go ahead and call that a night for now. We will see everyone next week. We're going to be talking about whether or not we've played the games that we haven't played in a while, what our plans are going forward for some other stuff. Amusingly, both of the players for the work game, for the school game, who I thought were moving on, are coming back in a limited style, and so they might still play. Yeah, thank you, Looney. Thank you for all of the wonderful conversations and commentary. Thank you, Evan, for being here. Thank you, Eli. I know you're not here anymore, but I'm going to thank you anyways. Thank you to anyone who's been watching, who will watch, who has watched. And yeah, this has been amazing. Really good conversations today. And as always, remember, we plan and play games for you.